Welcome back to Zodiac Wars. I'm so excited to do this video regarding Scorpio Man, all about the Scorpio Man, from his character, his sexuality, how he will behave as a father, a husband. Let's get right to it. I'm going to start with a quote from a very famous Scorpio Man. If you don't make it, I'm going to kill you. Ike Turner, Tina Turner's husband. I know you've all saw the movie What's Love Got to Do with It. If you didn't see it and you want to get a glimpse into the dark-sided Scorpio Man, please watch that movie, because Ike Turner in real life is a real Scorpio, and the way they played his character on this film is just brilliantly describes a dark-sided Scorpio man. I'm gonna go over the good traits and the bad traits of Scorpio men, by the way, not just focusing on the dark traits, but the dark traits are so abundant that it's gonna feel like that in this video. Trigger warning, just to let you all know. So imagine you being in an ambulance like Tina Turner was, and your husband is by your side and you're on your deathbed. You don't know what's going on. I think maybe she was ODing on drugs and she was really reacting negatively to the abuse that he was inflicting on her for the long term, and she just couldn't handle it anymore. She was having like a nervous breakdown. And of course she was physically ill as well. And then you have your husband looking down at you saying, hey, if you don't make it, I'm going to kill you. Like the most devious, devilish, toxic words you can hear from a loved one. And on top of that, it makes no logical sense. Now, me being an air sign, an Aquarius, that's, I might get up off the ambulance bed and choke you if you said that to me, because it makes no sense whatsoever. It's highly manipulative, highly diabolical, psychotic, sociopathic thing to say. And it's right along the lines of the dark side of Scorpio male. So let's get into how this guy looks. So let's say you're at a social setting, a nightclub, or you're at a lounge, you're at a gallery, and you're there with your friends or your colleagues, and you spot the Scorpio across the room. He's well-groomed, so he's going to have his beard or his face in line, his gold tee. Everything's going to be looking pretty chipper and nice, okay? His hair is going to look great, whether it's faded or cut low, or long in a slick back, very neat ponytail, or dreadlocks that are very well taken care of. He's going to look great no matter what style he's rocking, okay? He could also be like a biker, like a skateboard dude too as well, and have like kind of an unrefined style. There are Scorpios that go through that phase as well, so that could be him as well. But we're talking about the average Scorpio man. He could look like a metrosexual. He could have like he shops at Express clothing for men, like very fitted button-up shirts, maybe a bright pink or a baby blue. He could wear like other flashy colors like red, green, neons, very nice, well-tailored jeans or slacks. Very nice shoes. You're going to notice his jewelry looks really good and complements his outfit. So he could either be very well refined or very flashy, depending on the occasion where you catch him. He can take a risk with his clothing and try things that other people haven't wore, on the verge of masculine and femininity, like the Gemini man. He can walk that line. So you'll notice him like that. He'll have very small, beady eyes. Scorpio men have very tiny eyes, and that they say, like, the eyes are like the peek hole into the soul. So you're not going to get a very good vision once you look into their eyes. You're going to see a lot of darkness on the other side, because they're an abyss of secrets that, if you're curious like me, you just might want to explore, right? It's fun. Or maybe not. Maybe it's dangerous. We'll see as we dive more into the Scorpio male pathology. So when he's courting you, when he gets to know you and he feels like you're a safe person to open up to, he'll slowly but surely start to give you information about himself, but it's going to be very strategic and very calculated. He's going to be asking you all the questions to get all the information about you, to make sure that you're worthy of receiving information about him. So he's going to be slow and deliberate, and letting you know about his life and his wishes and his dislikes and his desires. He will keep things very fun and exciting, though. So he will tell you what he loves to do, what's his favorite sex position, what's his favorite travel destination, his favorite dish at his favorite restaurant, things like that. Very light things that doesn't really give you a glimpse of his true character. He will be very open about those things, of course, which makes it exciting at the beginning of a relationship. I think that trickling in information is better, but when I see that somebody has a stubborn side of them where they just don't want to release parts of themselves deliberately, I find that hostile and defensive, and I don't like that as an Aquarius. But to each his own. Once you move past the courting stage and he's, buying you gifts, and he'll give you a heartfelt card with a personalized message inside saying how much he's digging you, he likes you, and he can't wait to see what the future holds. He's a very much charmer, and he will love bomb you and tell you everything you want to hear if he really likes you. So some of it, I would say 50% of it is genuine compliments, and 50% of it is just to gas you up because he likes to see you excited and giddy like a little schoolgirl. Speaking of little schoolgirls, he likes to date women that are half his age, or maybe 20 or 30 years younger than him. Leonardo DiCaprio and P. Diddy are prime examples of that. They like girls who are very young and very naive and very pretty. They're easier to control, but we're going to get into the controlling part in just a minute here. Once you move past the courting, sex with them must be daily. It's more of a robotic task. They have to just release. They have to get that over with. They are ruled by the sacral chakra, so they rule the genitals. They're ruled by Mars, which is a very aggressive and passionate sign, so they have to get that out. They were once ruled by another planet, you guys know, but they moved into Mars recently, so they're really more aggressive about their sexual desires now. And he can get really frustrated and negative and pessimistic and angry with you if you deny him sexual favors. If he just wants to get it in for 30 minutes every night, it doesn't have to be mind-blowing 50 Shades of Grey, tie you up, and for 4 hours of foreplay sex. He just needs to come. I actually heard a Scorpio man say that before. He said he just needs to come every day to release the stuff. Yes. How romantic is that to hear somebody say that, right? It's just disgusting to me, but it's just too much information. Like, a Scorpio will give you information that you don't want to hear. Like, it's kind of perverted or irrelevant, or it doesn't really solve anything. They'll give you that type of information, but they won't give you the information that really allows you to get to know them, especially in the beginning, right? So I would say you're having sex 6 days a week with a Scorpio. 4 days a week it's robotic. 2 days a week it's passionate, fun, and you're going to have multiple orgasms, okay? So that's pretty much the thing. But again, if you do deny this man sex, you will have a very bad relationship with him. Okay, so you definitely don't want to do that. If you're not a sexual person, do not date the Scorpio man, period. Okay, so once we get past the courting and the sex and you know what he's like, he will begin the controlling phase. He is a natural leader and controller, meaning that he wants to know where you are because he can get an idea of how you move and what you're doing all day. He wants to manage your time for you. So if you say, I went to the store and then I went to get a pedicure and something at my mom's house, and he'll add up all the hours that you were gone, and he'll actually have the audacity to tell you that it shouldn't have taken you that long to do those 3 things. You should have been back an hour ago. And then he'll sit there and let you explain yourself. That is, very controlling for somebody to try to micromanage another adult's time. The longer the relationship is, the more he feels he has the right to do that. And what he'll do is he won't come out as overtly controlling. He'll try to ask you logical questions, trying to understand where, what you're doing with your time. But secretly, it's a controlling dialogue that he's trying to manifest. He will also blame his feelings on being able to control you. So if he's not being able to control your time, where you are, who you hang out with, what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, if he's not able to control those things, you're not eating at the restaurant he wants you to eat at, You're not washing the dishes as much as he would like you to wash the dishes. You're not traveling to the places he wants you to travel. He will begin to say things like, you don't really love me because you don't want to go to Puerto Rico. You don't really love me because if you did, you wouldn't have went to your friend's party and stayed there for 4 hours. You would have went there for an hour and came back home to me. If you really loved me, you wouldn't waste so much time doing this, or that. It's always about your time and what you're putting energy into, because he needs you to be putting energy into him constantly. He wants to know everything about your soul, your life, your spirit. He wants to own that. Very, very controlling and possessive, but it's going to come out in a very sneaky and subtle way, like a faucet dripping. You won't know that you're being controlled by this man, but eventually, at the end of the 3 to 4 year relationship, because Scorpio relationships usually don't last more than 2 to 5 years, they have to, in the relationship, find someone else and recreate themselves. And they do this over and over again in their lives. Leonardo DiCaprio is a very, very good example of that, and so is P. Diddy. So you have to let them be in control. And if you're not the type of woman that's going to allow a man to control her every move, boyfriend or husband or fiance, whatever stage you're in with him, then he's not going to have it with you. He will discard you. He will leave you. He will cheat on you. He needs to feel that he is in control at all times. He knows that, knowledge is power. And if he knows every single thing, then he's more apt to control you. Let's talk about Scorpio and the self. So the more you get to know them, the more, in the beginning, it seems like they're going to be all about you, but really, they really were never about you. They were just curving you into what they wanted you to be to fit into their life, their schedule, and their agenda. It was never really about you. It's about seeing how much they can change you to get you to fit into their world and to be an extension of them. Scorpio men have a strong tendency to be narcissistic. Scorpio man, if your Scorpio man has a, average, mediocre career, he's a lot more trustworthy. If he is very famous or very wealthy, you need to watch out, because famous or wealthy Scorpio men are very aware of their power and control, and they use that to the 100th degree. They use that to abuse people, abuse the population. We can use Bill Gates as an example. They are very flagrant with their power and very reckless with their power. So you definitely want to date a Scorpio in a more humble career with an average income if you are interested in him at all. Otherwise, you're in for a rocky ride. His self-interest always comes first. He is domesticated. So once you really get to know him, he will wash dishes. He will cook. He can cook, okay? He will make sure the house is taken care of, the lawn and the garage is clean, and, the floors are clean. But he will guilt trip you for it. He'll take on female domesticated roles, but he will make you feel bad for not doing those things all yourself 100%, especially if he's the provider. But since he's kind of feminine at the same time as masculine, he likes to do those things. So it's very conflicting. So you will have arguments about you not being a woman enough, but him and on the onset not allowing you to be, because he's doing feminine things, taking away some of your tasks as a woman, but then making you feel bad about it. It's very diabolical and very mentally abusive. He knows that victimhood is power, so he'll always have a victim story. Either in the beginning of a dating stage, he might tell you how his mother neglected him, how he grew up in a bad neighborhood, how he was bullied all his life, how his ex used him, cheated on him, abused him. So he always has some kind of story that he's carrying around with him to make you feel bad for him, because he knows the power of your pity and what he can do with that for his own advantage. This is not the type of man to get counseling. He's not solution oriented. Again, he finds power in victimhood. So he will come off as like a very powerful man, but then in the background there's that victim story that I told you about. Then he'll become a victim to you and what you're trying to do to him. He will construct some some ill-fated agenda that you have or ulterior motives towards him, and then he will project that onto you and make you feel like you're victimizing him now and you don't appreciate him and you're cheating on him and you're doing things to him that you're definitely not doing. But again, there's power in that victimhood. There's no power in a solution. So if you try to bring a solution to a Scorpio man, he's gonna feel like you're trying to take his power away. If he agrees with you and acts out the solution, he has nothing to complain about. And water signs always need something to complain about. Water signs in their dark side, not water signs living in their positive light. Let's clarify that. He needs something to complain about. And if he doesn't have that, he will leave you. Because what's the point of being with you if he can't be a victim complainer? This is real, you guys. When they are in an argument with you, they tend to overtalk you, and they talk in a continuous loop about the same 3 points they've been making for like years now. They'll keep repeating themselves in an argument over and over again. They won't let you get a word in edgewise, and they will interrupt you and out-talk you and yell over you when you do try to talk. Because with a water sign, when they're upset, nothing matters but their feelings. Nothing matters but their feelings. Their feelings overpower the entire conversation. You are irrelevant, and your feelings don't matter. They are irrelevant as well. Again, he won't get counseling if you're having rocky road in your relationship, whether that's premarital, marriage counseling, relationship counseling. He won't do it. Again, there's counseling presents solutions, and he does not want a solution because he wants control and power. He likes to make move in silence. He doesn't like to tell people what he's doing all the time, but he needs to know what everyone else is doing. He can come off as quiet and shy, but he's usually just calculating and being strategic on what his next move is going to be. And he's assessing the people in the room, their energy, and how he can use whatever he can to manipulate them to get whatever he wants. He is a selfish sign. It's okay to be selfish sometimes. I think as an Aquarius, we can learn a lot from Scorpios that sometimes we need an agenda and we need to stick to that to carry out a goal. And being selfish typically is the only way to do that. So selfishness is not always a bad thing, by the way. Neither is selflessness. They're both needed. He is private, so if you are talking to your friends and your family about your relationship excessively, about what he's doing and what he's not doing, he will eventually leave you. He does not like everybody knowing the intimate parts of himself. So if he sees that you're a blabbermouth and you can't control your emotions, where you have to go talk to everybody about your relationship and get their advice and bring other opinions into the relationship, he's not having it, sweetheart. Sorry, that's not going to work. You have to control yourself. He wants to control his reputation all the time, like a narcissist. He wants people to know that he's doing great things for you and he's a good boyfriend or a good husband and that he's a good father. He does not want people to know bad things about him. He wants his reputation to be good. Most people do, right? But I think he really takes that to a whole nother level than the average person. He likes to guard his reputation. Scorpios are very, very good fathers when they are in love with the woman. They tend to be awesome fathers when the breakup happens, as inevitably will, because these are not long-term people. Scorpios last about 5 years and then they're out, and they have they're like cats. They have 9 lives, maybe 10 lives, and they need to recycle and keep it fresh every 5 years. And they're shedding their skin, becoming something new, someone new. So they're going to need a new partner to complement that new personality that they are incorporating. Okay? Nothing wrong with these changes. Change is good. Change means you're not dead. Change means that you're evolving, right? So a lot of people can look at this and think, oh, Scorpios can't be, married forever in a 20 or 30 year relationship. Yeah, some of them can. There are exceptions. But that's just not the way they're built. And it really isn't for us to judge it. It's just, it is what it is. That's right. It is what it is. Once they leave the mother, they have an ex-wife, and they have children, they're good fathers after they reestablish themselves, they're going to have a couple of years where they're mediocre fathers. They're still going to pay for their child support and do what they got to do and see their kids on the weekends, every other weekend, whatever. But it's not going to be as passionate until they have fully shed their skin and are rebuilt and reborn into this new person. And then they'll come back and be that full-fledged father. So it's not going to be 100% consistent, but it will get better as they go through these phases and recreate themselves. Scorpios are not kid people, so they're going to be a disciplinary father. They're going to have their little affectionate moments, but they generally get very annoyed and irritated by kids because kids are very selfish, just like them. It's like looking in a mirror. The kid is competing for the spouse's attention, their time, their energy, and their resources, and kids are gimme, 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 gimme constantly, and that is very difficult for a Scorpio to deal with. So they are kind of like in competition with children, and they don't really like children in general, but they will tolerate their own children. As far as being stepfathers, Scorpios are not good step-parents at all. They are not biologically connected to the kid. The kid is just there, and they have to tolerate and deal with them because they are in a relationship with the kid's mother. They generally will never develop really strong parental feelings towards the child, unfortunately. So if you're looking for someone to be a really close stepdad to your child, Scorpio's not the man for that. As soon as he breaks up for you, he could be with you for 10 years and break up with you and discard you and your child just like that, like you guys never existed. So you have to be aware of that. This person will be nice and stuff to your kid and, maybe buy them a few things, but it's not going to be a genuine love and connection. And nobody really feels what they feel for their own biological children, for their stepchildren. That's a given. But some people can get very close and be very great step-parents, and I don't think Scorpio Man has the capacity to be a good stepfather. Sorry, I don't care who's upset about that. They're some of the world's best poker players. Scorpio men, if you just Google, you do your own research, you just Google Scorpio players, poker players, professional, like championship winners. A lot of them are Scorpio men born late October and November. And you know what it takes to be a good poker player. You need to have discipline. You need to have some luck. You need to be able to maintain that poker face, okay? It's very hard to read a Scorpio because their energy is blocked off. There's a big block there. You have to get through the bulldozer. That's what makes them such a great poker player, because it's very hard to read them because you'll never really know their intentions. That's not for you to know. So, in the end, typically how the relationship ends and when it ends, that's how you know what their intentions are finally. You won't know what their whole agenda was for you until the end of the relationship with the Scorpio man. And that's these brilliant poker players, and it just gives you a warning right there. How is he with his money? He is about self, so he's going to work very hard to grow his bank account, invest in things that'll give him good dividends. He spends more than he saves, though, so he will save a fraction, but he is flashy, so he will like to buy things that make him look a certain way. He can be very shallow like that. He's very giving with his money to his spouse as long as she's in line and allowing him to control her, and giving him the sex and everything he needs. He will spoil her and give her what she wants, the latest designer purses, shoes, make sure her hair and nails is done, make sure she's going on great family vacations, and he'll even pay for some cosmetic surgery. He kind of likes it. If she wants a boob job or a BBL, a tummy tuck, he will definitely invest in those things for her, especially if he thinks it's going to make her more sexually attractive to him. If he likes the way she is and he doesn't want her to change anything, he will not invest in her like that. He'll just say, no, it's not going to happen. So it has to be what he wants for you. Then he will give you the money and the resources to do it. If it's against what he wants for you, he can't be patient and understanding and say, I don't really agree with it, but I'm going to give you the money because it makes you happy. No, that'll never happen with a Scorpio man. It has to be in alignment with him. Let's talk about some of the Scorpio famous men, like Fabulous, born on November 18th. He has a very tumultuous relationship with an Aquarius. Air signs and water signs don't get along. Air signs are just, no, it's just not going to work. We don't like to be controlled. Water signs are for water signs. I don't think water signs should really invest in air, earth, or fire signs to a certain extent, because I don't think we have the ability to really truly comprehend their diabolical nature. Only another water sign can do that. So I do think that their best bet is to be with another water sign. So Fabulous, we know, is very toxic, and they will stay in a very toxic relationship for a very long time because it's more exciting. If the relationship is too healthy and too normal, they're going to leave within that 2 to 5 year time frame. They don't want that. They want something that's going to make them feel alive, kind of like when somebody says that they cut their wrists to feel alive. It's kind of like the Scorpio mentality. Leonardo DiCaprio switches models every 2 to 5 years. And the models are half his age. Remember, they like younger and more naive girls. And then Bill Gates just is going through a divorce because he's been cheating with his assistants that are half his age. The Future has 8 baby mamas, and we all know how petty and jealousy is of Sierra. Like, Scorpio mentality is, I don't want you, but I don't want anyone else to have you. If you replace a Scorpio man fast and you're happily ever after, you're having kids, you're getting married, they're going to be very upset with you for replacing them. That is like the worst thing you can do to their overinflated ego is replace them and be happy with someone else, and do it fast. If you ever want to hurt a Scorpio, do that. They just don't want you, and they just don't want no one else to have you either. They just kind of want you there as an option later if they want to come back to you. P. Diddy dates girls 20, 30, 40 years younger than him as well. And we know what he did to poor Cassie. He strung her along for a decade, I think. Promised he would give her, a ring, a wedding, make her his wife, and then also give her a child. None of that of which he did. He strung her along to fit his agenda because he did not want any more kids, and he did not want to get married again. So he agreed with her to appease her and to keep her there, but he knew he would never give her the things she wanted. She finally left, found a man, got engaged to be married. I think she's married now, and she's had her child. So like I said, in the end, you know that what their agenda was for you. And it's really a tower. Like, if you're into tarot, it's a tower moment where you just like, damn, all along, this is what it was. I've been lied to. I've been betrayed, manipulated, abused. That's how you feel at the end of the relationship with the Scorpio, especially if it went more than 5 years. You're going to feel very, very betrayed once you find out. Once you see their real hand, like at a poker game. Once you see the hand that they were hiding, it was all bullshit. And I'm sorry if you're going through that right now. Let's talk about Drake, who got a porn star pregnant. His child is from a porn star. It's accidental. That's what I mean. These Scorpios with money and power, they're reckless. I don't ever see them actively seeking love and wanting a real relationship. Once they've reached a level of fame or wealth, they just don't care for any of that anymore because that's really not who they are. These are not long-term people. I'm telling you guys that right now. Like I said, if you got one who's a manager at McDonald's, he might last for 10, 15 years, okay? But not without a lot of chaos, a lot of cheating, betrayal, and emotional abuse, or even physical abuse. The author of Dracula, one of the first vampire creation books, whatever, it's one of the best books ever written. It was written by a Scorpio, and it's a very dark book, and it's about how a vampire, or we can say a narcissist, seduces a woman with his charm, sucks her blood, and discards her. And then he moves on to the next victim. And he's forever young, okay? He doesn't age. He's a night creature. He doesn't like to be out during the day. These are all very significant signs of what a true dark-sided male Scorpio is like, okay? narcissism is very strong with the sign, you guys. So don't get it twisted. Your love, your dedication, your loyalty, your looks. You'll think that will be able to keep the Scorpio man on the hook, but he has his own agenda. Whatever you're trying to get him to do, whatever vision you see for the two of you, it's second to his vision, which is always going to be number one. Remember that. You're number two or maybe number three. He will cheat if he's not getting what he needs in a relationship. And he's a good cheater. It's going to be hard to catch him. He's going to have all types of women from every different walk of life on the side. And they're going to be controlled victims. They're going to, if you see them text him and you try to call them and meet up with them to see how long he's been cheating on you with them, they won't meet up with you. They won't give you any information. He's probably paying a couple of their bills or has got them so twisted in the head that they're brainwashed and they won't share anything. So you guys, that is it for Scorpio men. I really hope this was a good interpretation of the dark side of Scorpio men and some of the good qualities as well. There are good qualities trickled in there, believe me. But I think for the most part, the Scorpio man is a fun, good time. Like, if you want to date him casually for like a year while you're getting your life together and preparing yourself for a real man, I think that is great. Have fun with him, travel with him, go to the best restaurants, go shopping, hang out and watch TV all night, Netflix and chill. Be the trophy girl that he likes to flaunt around town. Have fun, okay? I think while you're in your late teens and early 20s, mid 20s, get a Scorpio, have fun. He will cherish your youth and spoil the heck out of you, and you'll have a great time. And then once you're ready for a more real, mature relationship, or you're ready for long-term or husband, then you move on to fire or earth sign. I'm an air sign, and I don't think air signs are very good long-term people either. But I think that if you really want long-term, go ahead and date a Capricorn, Virgo, or Taurus, or an Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. Okay? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Make sure you like and subscribe. Until next time.